Hello, everyone. Welcome in, welcome in. Hope everyone is doing okay, staying dry, staying cool. Where are you all? If you feel comfortable, you can put where you're calling in from in the chat. My name is Rachel. I am calling from Orlando, Florida. It has not stopped raining all day today. Hope you are all doing well.
Thanks for joining. Looks like we got someone from Washington in the house. Thanks for joining. Fayetteville. Wonderful. We got folks calling in from all across the country tonight. Tucson, Arizona. Love it. Claremont, California. New York, New York. Excellent. We'll get started in just a few minutes here. Just let folks trickle in. New Haven, Connecticut. Excellent. A lot of folks jumping on. Culver City. Good geographic representation tonight. Love that.
Welcome in, everyone.
You got it, John?
Denise, where in the Seattle area? My best friend is from Seattle. I'm so curious. I love Seattle. Oh, nice. Very cool.
No, you'll have a big ballot referendum to renew your democracy dollars program coming up in Seattle, which is exciting.
Yeah, there's a lot going on, just a lot, but yeah, glad to be here. Thank you. It's only 4 o'clock here, right? Yeah,
That's right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's 7 o'clock here on the East Coast.
it's okay.
Yeah, thanks for joining.
All right, we're gonna get started in a second. Just gonna give it like another minute or so and let a couple more folks trickle on in, but they'll come on in as we continue the presentation and as we're talking. This meeting is going to be recorded. It is currently being recorded, and it'll be shared with you all in the follow-up email. So the slides will also be shared with you. So if you have any questions about the slides or if you want to see them later, the slides and the recording will be shared with you in the follow-up email. So let me stop sharing for a quick sec so everyone can see each other and we can say hi. And let me just allow me to introduce myself. My name is Rachel. I'm one of the social justice organizers at the Workers Circle, and I'm based out of Orlando, Florida. If you're unfamiliar with the Workers Circle is a national secular Jewish social justice organization that is rooted in Yiddish culture. We were founded by Eastern European immigrants who came to the United States fleeing autocracy at the turn of the 20th century. The history and that history drives our work today for an inclusive democracy and human equality. Our organization is rooted in Jewish culture, but you do not have to be Jewish to participate with us and be a part of your activist community. We welcome all who share our values and wish to build a better and more beautiful world for all. We are grateful to the Center for Common Ground for co-sponsoring this. And tonight we're going to introduce you to Democracy Circles as a way to build power and community in the place that you live. One quick note. Yes, as I said, you will get these slides and the recording in a follow-up email, and we'll have a really good chunk at the end for question and answer for some Q&A. So feel free to drop your questions in the chat. We are more than happy to field them and answer them if they're simple questions, but if you want a longer, more in-depth response, you can wait until after the presentation and we'll give you that real nice, juicy response that you're looking for. and I'll pass it over to you, Rio.
Great, thank you, Rachel. I'm Rio Taswell, and excited to be co-presenting with Rachel this evening with you all. I've been working with the Workers Circle as a consultant for the last few months, but as a movement partner for several years. I been working to build support for transformative pro-democracy legislation for the better part of 15 years now, and have been able to collaborate with the Workers Circle and the Center for Common Ground quite a bit over the years as we've continued to build support for voting rights and campaign finance reform and really truly comprehensive democracy reform at the federal level and then at the state level as well. And so Democracy Circles is such an important vehicle for building power and organizing and mobilizing so that we can ultimately win that type of federal reform. And as Rachel mentioned, we are very, very proud to be partnering with the Center for Common Ground on this training and in a lot of our work in general in this space. The Center for Common Ground, as you may know, is nonpartisan. It's a Black and women-led voting rights organization that was founded in 2018. They work in voter suppression states where more than 20% of voters are voters of color, places like Alabama, Arizona, Florida, Georgia, Virginia, where I am here in Northern Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, Texas, and collaborating with local partners, the Center for Common Ground strives to mobilize, at the end of the day, all voters of color and all voters, both those who consistently participate in elections and those who have yet to fully exercise their right to vote. With our rights and our freedoms in this moment, and our very democracy under sustained attack, it is more important than ever before in our country's history that we build power and support one another on the ground and in our communities, which is what we're all here to discuss tonight, which is is a big part of Democracy Circles and the framework that we've put together. The changes that are taking place right now, again, as we all are aware, don't happen in the air. They happen in our communities. It happens through organizing, one-on-one and in small groups and in larger groups. Whether these attacks that we're seeing have to do with funding for essential survival, like the massive cuts to Medicaid and other healthcare benefits that were just passed in the big ugly bill, or the attacks on education and what's taught in our schools, whether we decide to exercise our freedom to vote ultimately will determine the outcome of these ongoing policy and issue fights. And John Lewis reminds us, and many of you may know that John Lewis Day, or Good Trouble Lives On Day of Action, is coming up day after tomorrow. He reminds us that we cannot stay on the sidelines hoping that someone else will act. It really is up to each of us to take action. So thank you all for being here tonight, and I'm excited to continue with the training. Rachel?
Thank you so much, Rio. As you'll see, let's get into the meat of the presentation. As you'll see, the slogan of Democracy Circles is demand democracy and fight fascism. At this moment in our nation, democracy is under attack at a speed and magnitude that we've never seen before in our lifetimes. Those attacks look like a rise in voter suppression laws, the weakening of institutions and agencies that implement laws, regressive judicial decisions that are undoing rights and precedents, and extremists who are willing to use threats and even violence to achieve their aims. You can imagine that it carries weight for a Jewish organization to say fight fascism. We do not use those words lightly. Among our members and leaders are child survivors of the Holocaust who experienced firsthand how democracy was destroyed in Europe during World War II through the rise of fascist politics. As a Jewish organization, we feel a particular responsibility to name the rise of fascist politics today in the United States. We are not saying that America is a fascist regime. Our democracy is still standing, but it is being actively compromised by anti-democratic leaders and the removal of checks and balances that have long defined liberal democracy in America. We believe that by naming it fascism, we can better understand and fight it together. These are several scholars who have been working diligently to help us in the rise of fascist politics here in the United States and around the world and fight back against it. Timothy Snyder, author of On Tyranny and the Road to Unfreedom, Jason Stanley, author of How Fascism Works, and Ruth Ben-Ghiat, author of Strong Men. This work is featured in our Democracy Circle discussion resources. So what does this have to do with democracy circles? The core purpose of democracy circles is to involve people in learning about our democracy and taking action to strengthen it. The best answer to fascist politics is engaged citizens who know American history, who understand the building blocks of democracy, and who take action together to ensure political equality and full participation of all Americans. Simply put, democracy circles are small groups of people who gather together once a month to learn and take action for our democracy. I want to start off our presentation with a quick question, and feel free to put your answer in the chat. When it comes to taking action, are you more likely to want to just get going with what you're doing, or do you want to learn about an issue first before you take action? We get some, just get going, learn. Lots of learn tonight. Usually this is pretty spread out and pretty even. Lots of learn tonight. That's so fascinating. I am also a learn, but thank you for, yes, learn but not get stuck there. I like that answer a lot. Well, democracy circles are, thank you for all the questions. And democracy circles are circles. So it doesn't matter where you start. You can build power and community by starting with action or learning together. A democracy circle is a small group of people who join together once a month to learn and take action, demanding the democracy we need, a truly multiracial, multicultural democracy that represents us all. Each democracy circle is initiated by a circle convener who picks a meeting time and place and brings people they know together in person or on Zoom to take action and to explore how we counter attacks on our democracy right now. We provide the resources, goals, and training. You bring your passion and your people. Democracy circles build grassroots power by gathering and equipping the people that you're already connected with. This is an adaptable model that can take the form you need and meet in the way that makes sense, around a kitchen table, in a church basement, after a protest, on a Zoom, or in a coffee shop. Democracy circles are an entry point for people who want to do something about the loss of our rights and the erosion of our democracy.
So, why start a democracy circle? Obviously, if you're here tonight, you probably have lots of reasons and lots of thoughts on that. But simply put, democracy circles allow us to build power locally and pool our power nationally to learn and take action for our democracy together. Excuse me. And democracy circles are flexible and adaptable. Here are 4 models for your democracy circle, which you could use as sort of a framework in thinking about how to get started. We have the congregational model, we have the kitchen table model, we have an into the streets model, and we have an organizer model. And in reality, sometimes your model, your circle might not fall neatly into one of these categories. Perhaps it'll be a combination, but it's helpful to kind of think through generally the different frameworks that we've seen be very successful in starting democracy circles. And all of these examples are real. These all come from folks that are already organizing in their communities and have found a lot of success employing these different strategies. And you can absolutely create your own model and create a hybrid or something else entirely that's not represented here. But these are 4 concrete frameworks that we have found to be really helpful for getting started. So there's a couple kind of case studies that we just want to quickly walk through. Stephen is one of our great Democracy Circle conveners, and he brought friends together from his area before his local community before the 2024 election and started a Democracy Circle. They took action together. Their Democracy Circle wrote over 200 postcards to voters of color in Florida, again in the lead up to the 2024 election, with information about polling locations and early voting before Election Day. And forming this Democracy Circle gave them a vehicle for taking action in a very concrete way in a critically important election, but it also helped them create a safe space and a welcoming discussion forum that they're able to use to talk about current events and the issues that they were most concerned about in the election, while they, again, took action together by writing all these postcards. I think on the next slide, we have another example here of the congregational model. This is a picture of Ellen and her group. Ellen's Justice Committee at her synagogue in Atlanta, Georgia, was deeply concerned about voting rights and Supreme Court ethics. So they used the Democracy Circle model to organize their community, their synagogue, around social justice work, particularly voter suppression that was happening in the state. And they also decided to volunteer as nonpartisan poll monitors, and others actually engaged in canvassing in their community. So they provided a range of opportunities for their members to take action. And they also used their Democracy Circle materials that were provided by the Worker Circle to learn about an important bill in Congress called the Term Act, which would limit the time Supreme Court justices can serve. And they were able to use their Democracy Circle to make legislative visits as well to their member in the House of Representatives in support of this legislation. And throughout all of this, Democracy Circle has provided evidence-based, actionable information, and our organizers were able to coordinate with them and check in with them and provide support on a one-on-one basis as they went about organizing these various actions with their community. And even though it's important to know, Ellen's Justice Committee used this to jumpstart their congregation-wide programming and action. You can do it at any scale. It doesn't have to be through a church or a synagogue or an institution. You can use this model, a congregational model or otherwise, to catalyze a small group that meets in your home, at a coffee shop, or even on Zoom if you'd like. So our next model that we want to talk a bit about is our Into the Streets model. This is a very popular format for Democracy Circles these days, especially just given all of the massive grassroots mobilizations that are happening on a monthly basis. It seems even more frequently than that. Activists who attended the People's March earlier this year with this is a picture of people at the People's March with the Worker Circle. And they used Democracy Circle resources to reflect their participation and discuss why it was imperative to support protests with ongoing grassroots action to demand that Congress take action to protect our rights and our democracy. And this is really such an important thing right now, given that there are so many protests happening, which is amazing, and people are taking to the streets sometimes for the first time. Democracy Circles is a great framework to capture some of that energy and channel it into ongoing activism and organizing, and can be a great way to bring folks into the movement. On the next slide, we have another example of a democracy circle. This one is the organizer model. This picture is of students at NYU as they are doing some postcarding there. And for those of you who are already organizing town halls, ongoing campaigns, and other larger scale efforts, democracy circles can be used as a way to keep people engaged, again, as I mentioned earlier, in between meetings, in between actions, in between protests, and to develop new leaders as well. It can be a great place to bring people in to this world of activism and cultivate them as leaders in their own right. And you can form multiple circles within an organization. You don't have to have one giant circle. You can have multiple smaller circles. You can be a part of multiple circles. You can organize them within a congregation or a union or even another organization. If you're a part of Indivisible or another group that has chapters, you can absolutely still form a democracy circle within another organization. It's not competitive. It's absolutely complementary. And we thrive on collaboration. So you can form circles within other organizations and really increase your impact even more in some ways. And our resources that we provide can help deepen and contextualize your work throughout the process, giving democracy organizers additional tools. So I think we have another question that we'd love your thoughts on here. When you're working for change, is it easier for you to get started, take that first step, or is it easier for you to keep going and to sustain that work? Sustain, get started. Okay, evenly split there. Start, sometimes taking that first step can be the simplest. Sometimes it's the hardest. Sustain, yep, getting started. Okay, looks like we got a pretty even split on this one. Interesting. Well, I've got some good news for you. Democracy circles can help you tackle both with getting started and sustaining. Democracy circles can help you get started and provide an ongoing structure, resources, and support to help your circle continue and to connect with others. But it is important that a core component of democracy circles is building power, whether it's just, at a very small level with a handful of your closest friends, at a bigger level working within a larger institution. It's really focused on that constant need to build power locally so that we can make change nationally. And that means engaging folks within your circle to take action and to have impact. And as you build your circle, you want to make sure that you have enough momentum that the community you build will be able to sustain bigger and bigger. You don't want folks to burn out. You don't want people to burn to take on more than they can handle. So you want to gradually grow and make sure that you're constantly building on that foundation that you've started. So Rachel, I'll kick it back over to you.
Yeah. So what exactly do democracy circles do together? First of all, they build power and to achieve the multiracial democracy we need. But what does it mean to build power? It means to bring people together, to unite their voices and votes to affect change. When you bring people you already know together for shared action, you are building power. When you reach new people and help them come off the sidelines and into the fight, you are building power. When you build power, it's always built from where you are, where you live, in your own community. We will help you with how to reach and equip your circle with opportunities for strategic actions to make a difference right now and in the future. You heard Rio describe how people are coming together in churches to form democracy circles. Here's another example. One of our new democracy circles in North Carolina just recently made a legislative visit to their senators on the SAFE Act, a federal bill that would make it harder to register to vote and require producing either a birth certificate or passport. Susan in North Carolina has gathered the people. We're helping them take the next steps to meet with their lawmaker. Other democracy circles are circulating petitions where people in their community can sign on their opposition to the SAVE Act. You bring the people together, we'll provide you with the resources and support. We really wanted to level the playing field with democracy circles. Some people have gathered and organized events for years, and other people have never put together a gathering of activists. But don't worry, there's no prior experience necessary to start a democracy circle. So, when you sign up for a democracy circle or to get more information about starting a democracy circle, we provide you with a getting started guide, outreach tips guide, a roadmap for impact and growth, and our build power resources. So let's take a look at these resources. The Getting Started Guide will let you know what a democracy circle convener does to start and sustain the circle. Some suggestions for how to organize the time at your gathering, and information about how to reach out to us for support. The Outreach Guide can help you get people to join your democracy circle. Perhaps you're a longtime postcarder with the Center for Common Ground, but you've been postcarding alone and not quite sure how to reach out to others. Our Getting Started Guide and outreach tips help you connect with others in your community online or in person. We know that it often takes many attempts to gather people, even when they're interested. And so we have some advice on when and how to persist. So let's take a moment to think together about outreach. Many of us gather with people every day. Let's take some time to think about who you could invite to your democracy circle. Or what established group are you a part of that might also become a democracy circle? In the chat, drop the name of at least one person or group that you would invite. They could be your bowling team, alumni from your high school or college, members of your family, your walking buddies, friends from your senior center, or anyone else. When you're ready to drop their first name or the group that you're thinking of in the chat, when you're ready. All right, so we have neighbors.
Neighbors can be a great place to start.
Neighbors, sorority sisters, my weekly postcards with wine group, colleagues, college students. We had a circle recently start with like conversations that she was having with her coworkers, and she wanted to take those conversations outside of the workplace. Fellow protesters, grandchildren, neighborhood neighbors, peer supervision group friends. You could totally do it by Zoom. A 20-year group of friends, strangers in the grocery store. Yeah. I love that idea. Our huddle what does our huddle mean for you, at least? Does that mean like Marilyn? Are those just like the people that are close to you?
We have a small group of people. They all live in the same neighborhood, but
Oh, nice.
I'm a little bit outside the neighborhood, but I can join anyway. And recently, we've just been getting together and we've read the US Constitution together, and now we're reading the Maryland Constitution together. And we're looking to do other things together to,
That's so cool.
be more active. And it's just a group of we're all ladies, so, but it's yeah. So it's people I didn't know before, but now I'm getting to know them.
Very cool. I like EB saying that they invited the phlebotomist who took their blood. You have no fear inviting strangers in the grocery store, your phlebotomist. Indie bookstore is a great idea. I feel like that would have a lot of like-minded people. Yeah. All right. Thank you. Those are all great examples. And it's great to think about who we can build power with. And let's talk about the role of the convener for a moment, the person who gets the circle started. A convener picks a meeting time and place and gathers people they know together. But democracy circle conveners don't have to be major leaders in their community. Conveners can just be regular people. It's okay if you get nervous speaking in front of a crowd or if you've never organized something before. We'll help you every step of the way. And you're always allowed to co-convene with someone else. So you may be wondering, what exactly does a convener do? A convener reaches out to people they know and invites them to join the circle, sets a time and place of gathering for action or reflection, or both, and decides what to do at that first gathering. And the convener is the point person who we will meet with to support, who will receive our updates and resources via email, and who will let us know how it's going. Conveners also gather once a quarter online to share what's working with each other and learn about how our work fits into the greater movement. So when you sign up to convene a circle, one of our organizers will set up a time to talk with you by phone or Zoom, and we'll walk you through everything. We'll think together about what your circle will look like, and we'll talk about your ideas and hopes for what your circle can do. So this was our convener's guide for this past spring. And each quarter, we will provide you with a framework for a build power action and a demand democracy action. This is how we bring together the power of democracy circles across the country. We also offer a quarterly gathering online for our conveners to get together, share what's working and what isn't, and discuss how we can improve the experiences with their circles. And we provide support all along the way. Now, I'll pass it back to Rio.
Thanks, Rachel. So yes, we provide quite a set of resources and trainings and materials for folks every step of the way. Because we have found that, while people want to take action with others in ways that are strategic, they also want to learn and educate others in the process. And that brings us to our discussion resources in particular. Many of us were not taught civics in school, or were taught civics in a way that made us objects rather than agents of democracy. If you stopped somebody on the street and asked them, "What's the filibuster?" they they may know on the surface what it is, but they may not know the long racist history of the filibuster or how it blocked the freedom to vote John R. Lewis Act from passing as recently as just a little over 3 years ago. So we have an article on the filibuster with a set of discussion questions. We provide resources from other trusted organizations like the Brennan Center and journalists like R.A. Berman and credible media organizations that are short enough to read together and provide a framework for understanding why the heck in 2025 we are still fighting to make sure that Black voters and other voters of color can access the ballot. And these resources and discussion questions provide deeper context for dedicated people who are already in motion and taking action together. They draw the people in who won't act until they have a better sense of what's going on. Hence our discussion question earlier about wanting to learn first or to jump right in. We understand a lot of folks prefer to learn issues, especially for the really complex issues. And so we've really compiled quite a vast set of educational resources to help with that regard. And these resources can really help people connect the dots so that we can take action together. So this is a screenshot of the table of contents of our discussion resources. As you can see, it's pretty significant. Lots and lots of reading materials, lots of discussion materials. We have over 50 different resources for you all to explore. We're constantly adding and updating them as well as we learn from folks about what's most helpful, as things continue to happen, as things continue to shift in this complex, ever-changing political dynamic. And each resource comes with a set of questions that you can use to help guide your conversations in your circles. We like to encourage people to engage in discussion and conversation, and then to talk about taking action or to take action. And these resources are incredibly helpful for that discussion component of a circle. And our discussion resources are sorted into broad categories that include how our democracy works now, timely articles on legislation, court decisions, political strategy, and ongoing political debates. We have a section on history and sort of historical tidbits that are important for understanding the current fights that we're in now. We have another section focused on arts and culture, which is such a critical component of creating change and has been historically and continues to this day. And then we have resources focused on gathering your stories and encouraging people to use their stories as a tool for organizing and for advocating, because sometimes your own personal story can be the most impactful thing to help illustrate the importance of an issue to a legislator or to someone that you may be talking to while canvassing, or any number of other circumstances. Here you can see a sample resource in these screenshots. Each resource contains a summary, a link to an evidence-based article, and then also some discussion questions that you can use in your meeting. Importantly, all of our democracy circles bring us together around our shared values, and all of the information that we compile is framed in those terms of our shared values. And one of our top conveners, Art, gave us this wonderful quote that really sums it up so nicely here. And I'll just read it aloud here. Democracy circles allow us to share our ideas and feelings with other activists, be heard and hear others, get and give support, and have agency, not feel as helpless as we might in the face of rising fascism in this country. So I want to really encourage everyone, if you're interested in learning more, or you want to start a circle and become a convener, please get in touch with us. You can see 2 ways to do that on the screen. We've also dropped this link in the chat a couple of times, which we will do again. And if you fill it out, you will get an email from me to set up a time to chat one-on-one, and I can answer any questions that you may have. Would love to hear a little bit about where you're coming from, any reservations you might have in terms of starting a democracy circle, or about the work that you're already doing, whether it's with a congregation or with an organization, and how starting a democracy circle may help with that. But no matter whether you're starting from scratch or already a seasoned organizer, having a one-on-one meeting can be a really great way to get you teed up to make the most of our resources and to dive right in with the Democracy Circles model, so that it can be as impactful and helpful for you as possible. So yeah, please fill out that form. You can also reach out to us over email, which is also there in the chat, democracycircles@circle.org. And Rachel, I think we wanted to open it up for questions now, right?
Yeah, now I'm gonna stop screen sharing so we can all see each other, and we're gonna open it up for questions.
So yeah, feel free to drop your questions in the chat. You can also raise your hand or just jump in if there's a pause in the conversation. It looks like Mel has a question. Are these circles non-denominational? Rachel, you want to take that one?
Yeah, so they can be denominational. That is, if you find that it is helpful to to work behind a denomination, that is that's more than fine. The Worker Circle, well, Jewish, we are a secular organization. So we don't have a like we're Jewish in culture and in values, but we aren't you can do what you would like with that.
Yes, by all means. Yeah, it's any and all. It can be non-denominational, it can be denominational, it can be it's interfaith, atheist. I mean, we don't discriminate. It does not doesn't matter. And it can be helpful one way or another. It's really whatever community you're organizing in. You can apply this model to that, whether it's religious or secular. It looks like EB has a question. Do you want to come off mute?
Yeah, I just wanted to know how this differs from, if you could delineate this versus Indivisible versus Move On versus Third Act versus Working Family Parties, Wolf Packs, all of the on the ground grassroots little organizing efforts that have been happening and have really ramped up in the last 6 months.
Yeah, I think that the biggest difference is that we're significantly smaller. Like that really is the biggest difference, in that our team is small. There's 5 of us on the team. And yeah, what feels good about this is the sense of intimacy. That is a great way to put this. That Rio and I are the people that you're going to be interacting with help with your circle. If you have questions, if you need advice, the one-on-one aspect of it is what's different. That instead of an indivisible group of hundreds of people, you have a group of 5, and you're all the people who are working together, and you're receiving guidance from us, and that guidance is direct. That's really the biggest difference. And Rio, if you would like to add on to that.
Yeah, I would say yes, that is true. But that doesn't make us any less impactful or national in scope. It's a national program. We have chapters all across the country. We have circles all across the country rather, and quite a few. We're having more and more folks sign up every month, which is amazing. However, as Rachel said, we are very hands-on in a way that these other distributed organizations really aren't. I mean, Indivisible is a fantastic group. We work with them all the time. They have so many chapters that they just don't have the staff capacity to really provide anywhere near as much support as we're able to offer our Democracy Circle conveners.
I actually have a very different experience of that.
Oh.
The national organizer that is a staff person for Washington State is available with office hours all the time. As well as national backs us up in all kinds of ways. So, but I hear you that you're a smaller organization. I wonder if culturally, and I don't, if like there's an approach that makes yours different, or a stated goal, or that kind of thing.
Well, first, that's great. I've heard people with very different experiences, and that's fantastic that Washington Indivisible is so well staffed up and providing support. That's terrific. I love that. And again, we love them. We work with them all the time. In terms of your question, yeah, I don't know, Rachel, do you want to speak to the cultural
Yeah,
dimension?
I think that also Ivy put it really wonderfully in the chat here, that while we're a smaller organization, we are the opposite of new. We're 125 years old. We are as old as like labor organizing is itself. And that name recognition and that history for us is really big. It's a really big benefit in how we organize, how we move through organizing spaces. And thank you, Ivy. And it's really we use that culture and that history as a big, like, influence in how we move through organizing and through activism and through democracy preservation and activism. So that is how do we approach conflicting viewpoints? That is a great question. I think that to approach conflicting viewpoints, the first thing that you have to do is be able to listen. And yeah, hearing the concerns of someone else and offering having the space for listening and for conversation is how you start with oh my God, I've taken the Join for Justice organizing class. Took it a few years ago, but I love them. They're really lovely people, and it's a really awesome organizing class. But yeah, I don't know if that helped answer the question of conflicting viewpoints.
And yeah, I guess
Oh.
the context matters quite a bit. I mean, we are encouraging people to have conversations and through these discussion resources, which include issues where people might have differences of opinion, and of course, you know, you want to navigate that as constructive way as possible, and really focus on what we agree on, which is, I think, probably 90% of what we're focused on in terms of taking action. But of course, you know, when there are disagreements, you know, we encourage people to, as Rachel said, listen, understand, and yeah, try to focus on what we can do together, despite perhaps disagreeing on some things. Seeing a lot of activity in the chat, but I see that Amanda has her hand up.
Yeah, I just put it up because I can speak, right? I mean,
Yeah,
I don't
please.
have to do it in chat.
Please.
But I'm walking my dog, so sorry for the multi. Yeah, I just think we're in a time where, you know, society's very polarized. I understand most of us who are showing up for this have a particular viewpoint, but still, you know, I don't know, that's just on my mind. So that's probably where my question came from, and how we can get sometimes a bit doctrinaire, you know, where some issues are more complex than we like to see them. But obviously, you know, not obviously, but I certainly am in the camp of people that I'm very, very worried about democracy and what's going on right now. So I don't know. That was just one of my thoughts. And the other one, which is really kind of different topic, is, you know, I have a really busy life already, and I'm you know, like I guess I'm just wondering how, if you have any words of wisdom about trying to find a way to feel like you're actually doing something and staying engaged with it, but being realistic. Like, I don't know what I'm trying to say exactly, but just that I work really long hours. I work with people, and then, you know, trying to do these, like, there are a lot of things that really pull at my heart. I want to do them, but I really don't know how to do them and keep functioning in my life. So I don't know, that may be the kind of thing you could discuss in a democracy circle, I guess.
Yeah,
I don't know,
I think that's
I have
excellent
lots I could
discuss.
yeah. So that's all. I could probably just throw all sorts of ideas out there. I'm really enjoying this meeting. Thanks.
Yeah, I think, Amy, that is really, I think that's very key, is to be okay with small actions. And whatever you can do, make sure that you are protecting yourself, protecting your energy, taking time off as EBS. I think there's a lot to say about not going super hard, super fast, and really protecting yourself, what your actions are, that you don't have to go to every protest, that you don't have to be at every meeting, at everything. You don't have to sign every letter. You can take the time and decide what you want to do, any action is action. Yeah, we have to take care of ourselves first and then our democracy. And that's very true.
Yeah, and I guess the only thing I would add is that you know, this is a marathon, not a sprint, right? We're not going to save democracy overnight. Um, things might get worse before they get better, but in order for them to get better, we do need to take action and take sustained action. And what we've tried to do with the resources and the culture and the framing of democracy circles is to provide folks a vehicle for doing exactly that, in a sustained way, with yeah, a set of tools and resources and support from a team that's working with folks across the country. But really encouraging folks to, yeah, build the platform and encourage other people to get on board, because I know, speaking personally, whenever I'm feeling like burned out or overwhelmed, or that I'm not doing enough, or that I'm doing too much, or whatever the case may be, seeing other people get engaged and take action, it can really be motivating. And you can really see the ripple effects of your work, whether you're organizing a democracy circle with 5 other people, or organizing, you know, a national campaign with, you know, thousands of volunteers, or anything in between. You know, that peer-to-peer impact really does provide that extra boost that we need sometimes to keep going, and to yeah, to stay focused on the change that we're all working to make. Seeing a lot of comments in the chat. Rachel, any other questions jumping out at you, or anyone else want to come off mute and ask any other questions that you have? Really appreciate you all engaging with us and chiming in the chat and asking all of these great questions.
I do love just the echoing of support that I'm seeing in the chat, that people are just like very supportive of each other. And I really do love seeing that.
Well, definitely want to, yeah, encourage people again to reach out. Setting up a one-on-one meeting with me does not commit you to anything at all. It's just a chance for us to chat some more, for me to learn, yeah, more about where you're coming from, answer any questions you have, and share more about democracy circles. And if you decide after that that you don't have the capacity, or it's not something you're able to do at this time, that is absolutely okay. Or if you need to take some more time to think about it, that's okay too. But if you are ready to go, then we can come away from that meeting with you signed up officially as a Democracy Circle convener, and we can send you our convener's guide and get you plugged in with all of the various materials and activities that we are putting together on a regular basis.
I think EB also had a great question of if there's examples of the cultural work. And I do want to say that while our democracy circles aren't they aren't promoters of our cultural work in the same way that other areas of the organization are, that does not mean that you can't be, that your circle can't be, that you don't have the ability to go to the cultural things, to do the cultural things as a promotion of democracy with your circle. That's I think that's what's so beautiful about the circles, is that they are really they're structured, but they're also very open, and you're allowed to do what you would like with them. And I do have a question asking if there is an existing democracy circle near me, and I can look, but we encourage you, instead of joining an existing one, to create your own. And that may be intimidating and scary, but your circle is going to be different than the circle that you would potentially join. You have different people. I know, I hear you, but I'm a loner. I get it. You have a neighbor, if you have siblings, if you have even one person in your life that shares the same values as you. And yeah, anywhere, a place to start. And we have democracy circles that that don't leave the walls of a home. It's like a mother, her husband, and their child. Like a Zoom circle is also a great idea. You do not have to think far with your democracy circle. It's just a formalized name of the group of people. And you really don't have to think far and wide. You don't have to find someone you don't have to create a group of 20. It could be a group of 3. It could just be a group of 2. It could be a group chat. We have one person, Anshu, whose democracy circle is a group chat that shares actions and plans actions to go to together, and resources and things. And they're all friends, but it's their group chat has kind of turned into their democracy circle space, which is great. Very cool.
Yeah, I love
hope
that.
that
you
answers the
shared that.
question.
I love that you shared that example, Rachel, because it just shows, just how simple it can be to start a democracy circle. It can seem like a daunting task, but it doesn't need to be, and it really is just a foundation to build on. Whether it's a group chat or a small circle of a couple friends getting together, but it's a foundation, and you can build on that foundation. And it doesn't need to look one particular way. I mean, I talk to new conveners and respective conveners all the time who have some ideas about what they want to do or what they're already doing, and see some value in the resources that we're creating and offering to folks, but don't want to be put into a box, and they want to still have the freedom to talk about other issues or organize around other issues. And by all means, we encourage that. It's not a prescriptive one size fits all thing. We absolutely do, encourage folks to take the actions that we're providing and curating, and use the materials, because we found them to be helpful, but we don't require people to use them in a certain way, to engage on a certain number of fronts. It really is kind of whatever you want to make it, and so it's, again, yeah, a foundation that you can build on, and kind of take the pieces that we're providing, and use them to create whatever type of group and whatever type of impact that you want to have.
Yeah. Thank you, Rio. And as we get close to the end of our little meeting tonight, I just wanted to say thank you to everyone who came out. And if you have any more questions, feel free. You are more than welcome to reach us. Let me put actually. Hold on. Let me put this back on the screen real quick. This is how you can reach us. socialjustice@circle.org, or I can put my email, and Rio, if you could put your email in the chat. This is my email, and I would be very happy to reach out and talk with y'all if you have any trepidations or hesitations, or any questions. Feel free to reach out to us at our emails. Yeah, thank you so much, everyone, for being here. And if anyone has any last questions, feel free to share them in the chat, or come off mute. Just want to say thank you to everyone for being here. Have a lovely night. Thank you.
Thanks so much, everyone. We appreciate you spending some time with us this evening, and looking forward to hopefully having conversations with some of you moving forward. Thanks a lot.
Sounds great. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.
Good night.
Yeah.